namaste, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, or maybe even good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepakar Khemani, and I am one of the co-founders of Bloom. Bloom is into physical and mental wellness, trainings, speaking engagements, and creating signature workshops and programs for corporates and individuals desirous of going to the next level. At Bloom, we have a team which has a cumulative experience of 200 plus years. All of them are experienced professionals specializing in their own field. Our founder, Payal Irani, is also my co-host today. On this Sunday Bloom Talk Show, we have with us Jonita D'souza. I will request Payal to introduce her and then we will take the program ahead. Over to you, Payal.
Thank you, Deepak sir. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Namaste and very good afternoon to wherever you all are. Good morning. Good morning, Mira. We have a guest all the way from UK. Welcome, Jonita, to Bloom Talk Show. And let me introduce you. Jonita D'souza is a feminine lifestylist and creatress of Exploring Femininity Limited. She is assisting modern day busy women who struggle with burnouts, overwhelm, and body love to reconnect with their feminine and sensual energy using the ancient Taoist and Tantric arts. Wow. So that they can create a lifestyle that is fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Jonita is also a certified life coach, NLP practitioner, and master hypnotherapist. So Jonita is also a pioneer in combining the teachings of Indian feminine mysticism and shamanism in her work. Jonita, tell me more about yourself. I'm very curious to know.
Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction and for this opportunity to be here in your platform, reaching the variety of audiences that you have following already. So I'm really excited. About myself, I can be very brief because it can take a long time telling my journey and my story. So as you might have seen or noticed, I am an Indian. I was born in Andaman Islands in India. So that's like a very tiny dot in the map of the world, let's say, and a very beautiful, a very remote place. And I was born in a very privileged family, I could say, yeah. And I was always taught that for a woman to be independent, she needs to be financially secure. She needs to be financially independent. So my father, from a very young age, I was in the family of doctors and teachers and all of that. So they instilled this in me that if I want to experience freedom, I need to go to the pathway of making ends meet through my finance. And it was there when they helped me, supported me in that ways. And like many Indians, I became an IT engineer and did work in a couple of cities in India. And I reached this point in really early in my life. I was 22 when I started working in the corporate world. And I realized that, okay, now I'm young. I am living in the city by myself for the first time. I was in Hyderabad working there. And I was wondering, where is the freedom? Where is the freedom? I was struggling to find a place to rent because of those days, and I'm talking 2000. So, people would not rent out to single ladies. And the freedom that I was looking for was somehow supported by the finance, by the money that I was making, and by the position that I had and achievements that I've made at the age of 22. But there was this inner freedom of expression that was lacking. I still understood that or realized that I had to be someone else to be heard in the boardroom, to be heard in my corporate meetings. Like I had to put a persona, but the real me was totally different. And I am an introvert, and my idea of freedom was just, being me, laughing, doing silly things, going for stroll in the streets. And at that time, it wasn't available to me to be this woman, you know, like just be in the streets without being looked at, stared at, or feeling safe. So all of those things made me realize that I'm not free. I'm not free. I have money, but I am not independent. I don't have freedom. So what happened next thing is that, you know, the influence I had from the Western world, I always thought that Western women were free. You know, I would see all those Hollywood movies and all those TV shows, and I would wonder, like, wow, they have so many opportunities. They can be free. They can express themselves more freely. And what I also noticed is that a lot of times, and there were a lot of places where women at that time, personally, my experience was that we were allowed to only express to a certain extent, even though you hold certain rank, or, you know, you are not allowed to say this, you cannot be in the support of that, you cannot touch taboo topics, you cannot question too many things decided by elders in the family. You know, so your place is pretty much nothing as much unless you become the elder of the family, which will take like few decades to go. So I couldn't wait. And I had an opportunity to go to London, and that was it. I thought, okay, I'm going to London. I'm going to be free finally. So, and I'm going to be an independent woman. And I reached London. I absolutely loved it, and And I was working in a corporate environment, and I was studying there as well. So I was getting to know the culture, and I met beautiful people. I made good friends, and I made a lot of girlfriends, and I noticed that there was something missing, and they would always tell me, like, wow, you from India and you have dark skin and dark hair, so beautiful, I want skin like you and want hair like you. And I was wondering, what is wrong with these women? You know, in India everyone wants to be fair. You know, that's promoted, like something is wrong. And what I noticed is in that corporate environment in London, a lot of emphasis was given on the looks. And women tried a lot to look good, to look in a certain way so that they could find their way to success. And this is the whole doing of being beautiful was tiring. So I went into that, and it was 2007 when my father passed away in India. So that was this very defining moment that I was in a state where I did not understand. I didn't like to be in England. I couldn't understand the freedom that I got. I exploited it to a level. I was going for parties and, you know, drinking, and I just did whatever I could, like just as if like I was a bird out of the cage. And soon it was all hopeless, meaningless, same routine. And the sense of hollowness again came back, that now I have everything again, but where is the freedom? And the whole act of doing beautiful was very exhausting, and money cannot buy that, you know. So there was this dark night of the soul moment where my father passed away, and he was my biggest cheerleader, and I felt really lost. And I was 23 at that time. And I had a series of backlashes. My health began to dissipate. I had eczema covering all my body. And there was a lot of hollowness and emptiness. And I did not know what I should be or how I should be a woman in this modern day and age, because I didn't want to go back to India because I didn't feel that I fitted there. I didn't want to stay in London because I didn't feel I fitted there. So there was this quest. I spent around 6 to 8 months in this whole of, you know, what am I supposed to do as a woman? How do I feel independent? How do I feel free? How do I feel good about myself? And what does it even mean to be a woman? You know, so and eventually I found some events happening through Facebook ads, and there was a teacher doing a workshop on essence, and I decided to go. It was only £10. I thought I'll go and I'll sit by the door, and if I don't like it, I'll just run away. Not a big deal. So I went there, and she started speaking. It was a 2 hours workshop and I cried the entire time. And she spoke something that the most powerful gift as a teacher you can give to someone is to show them their essence. And that stuck to me because I realized I did not know what my essence was. And I just cried, and it was a circle of women. And for the first time, rather than people telling me, oh, don't cry, it's going to be okay, you're going to figure out, rather than people telling me this, they were like, yes, this is your moment, cry it out, feel it. Because when you feel it fully, that's the moment you have begun this inner journey of, finding, searching, really feeling the pain, because that leads to a lot of transfiguration and transmutation. So that was the beginning. And I started being mentored by that teacher for 2 years in Glastonbury. I was going back and forth. I learned a lot, and she taught me so much about the feminine essence, which made me understand a lot about how, as women, we have to find that thing inside of ourselves first. And in doing so, a lot of things fall in place. And when we understand our own essence, we are able to see life differently, in the sense we are able to understand why that person is behaving this way, why this is happening to me, and all of those nitty-gritty. And so long story short, I started teaching, and then I wanted a practice ground. I opened up a meetup group, which within a month grew up to 800 members. And I was like, oh no, what am I supposed to do with the 800 members in my meetup group exploring femininity? So I was scared, and my teacher said, okay, so this is time for you to step up, maybe step into your leadership, try to learn how to facilitate. And the journey began from there. Exploring Femininity company was formed then. And it's been 10 years now. So the first few years was literally me figuring out how to even do a business that is feminine in nature through the feminine principles. Me being an introvert, I did not like networking. I did not like sales. I did not like speaking on stage. How can I just be me and market myself? So the learning what is essence marketing, what is attraction-based marketing, rather than selling-based marketing, and all of that. And over the time now, I run online retreats, in-person retreats, online classes, courses, and all of that has come as a journey of personal evolution. So that's the long story short.
Thank you, Jonita, for sharing this wonderful journey of yours, and I'm truly inspired. Surely I'm going to attend one of your retreats very soon in future. So,
Pleasure.
So Jonita, you specialize in feminine retreats, and there is this in your profile. It has been mentioned that you combine two kinds of tools. Can you explore more? Can you explain us more about this? What is it and how it is helpful for us?
Yeah, so in the retreat specifically, what I provide a space or hold a container is, first of all, for women to just be. And I do work only with women specifically because I thought that this is the best I can do for myself. And in my journey through this, I can support other women. And a lot of things apply to men as well, because it's the feminine principle that we speak about. And that's not gender biased, but the feminine principle naturally comes very easily to women for its own good, for its own purpose, just like the masculine principle comes very easily to men for its own good, for its own purpose. And so in the retreats, we use different tools, we use different somatic practices, using our breath, our sound, our a lot of movement and emotional healing practices, so that women can just be with their emotions. And what I have noticed is oftentimes when we allow that space for women specifically to disconnect from the 20,000 roles that she plays on a day and just sit with yourself and really feel into who you really are, it's a very sad story. And because we by feminine principle, the feminine principle is all about nurturing, compassion, connection. So women by default, are very good in this, and then they lose themselves in this. So your own identity is lost. And a whole area of resentment, suppressed anger, suppressed emotions, suppressed trauma, and the feeling of unheard, unmet comes up. But the root cause is because we don't take the time to sit with our own selves, to meet our own selves in a reverent way. So that's what we do in the retreats. And in Tantra, what the philosophy is that, when a man wants to be nourished, he goes to the woman, because women are the nourishers of the family, of the relationship by default, by essence. And when a woman wants to nourish herself, she goes to other women, not the man, because that's not his role here. Although they are very caring and they will do all of that, but naturally, since ancient times, women met with other women in circles, in community, to nourish themselves. And then they go back to their family. So they gain that life force energy to give to their family, to give to their man, to give to their children, to give to their community. And what happens is, in this modern day world, we've taken relationship and our essence as conditional. So I nurture you, so you as the man should now nurture me. But that's not the quality of the masculine. They have their different qualities in their own ways of providing, of supporting. And here's where the conflict begins. And you feel like, okay, nobody cares for me, nobody understands me in my family. It's because we do not dedicate ourselves a structured space to be with other women and just see how it means to just be. And what we realize, I work with women from all the 7 continents and different nations and nationalities and age group from 20 to 70. All of us have same issues, or very similar issues of trust, of anger, of resentment. And a lot of tears flow through. A lot of tears that are not allowed, or that does not have space on a regular day goes through. And this is a beautiful release mechanism. We nourish ourselves through our own emotional release. What I've also noticed is a lot of anger comes up for women. A lot of suppressed anger comes up, and that's really good, because then she owns her power back. She's not like a ticking time bomb, angry at the world, angry at everything. And once we have taken care of all those suppressed emotions, then we can begin to see, so what do I desire from my life? What would I like? And then we go into more somatic practices of tuning into our body, our soul, our essence, to see, what do we really want from our life? What do I want to create from all that I've got? So it's, and we do a lot of movement practices, because the feminine is about the movement. It's not about just sitting and listening, and it's not a presentation, but it's about connecting, speaking, conversation, movement, reflection. There's and good food as well, which that's supposed the emotional healing.
Thank you, Jonita. I so second you. So when women wants something to share, they would obviously go to women. So there is an innate need of balancing masculine energies as well as feminine energies. So how do we do this? How do we balance this?
Yeah, what I have come to an understanding is the whole concept of balance is very delusional, because there is no 50-50 that we can do about it. And it's very situational based. Both men and women have masculine and feminine energies. And masculine pretty much is our principles of rationality, linear logic, the doing bit, the direction, the discipline, the focus, the active principle of doing. And the feminine is more the intuitive, it's the invisible thing, it's the active principle of being. You know, it's about receiving, it's about the feelings, the emotions, the water-based emotions. And on a given day, we have different varieties of tasks. Often days it requires us to be in our masculine, like, you know, when we're doing work like this in the Bloom, you would know, like, being the founder, you have 10,000 things to do, and you cannot be 50% in your feminine, 50% in your masculine. But what I really suggest is for the women, because feminine is our primary essence, we start our day with that. So have some practice that we wake up, we connect to this feminine essence of ours, we energize this feminine essence of ours, we look into what's the day has got for us in stores, and then go about for the doing. When we don't do this is when the misbalance happens, because what happens is we wake up and we are constantly doing, and men can do the doing really well. Women are biologically made differently. Our hormonal systems are different, our adrenaline systems are different, our neurological systems are different, the way we perceive emotions, thoughts, things are different. We women can multitask, and you know, the things that our body is wired and designed as is naturally different. So we cannot be, well, what I've noticed and what I keep saying to my clients in the West is that we women have become men wearing skirts, you know, like literally. We just wake up, okay, let's do this, let's get this done. And, you know, we go into that warrior, the fight mode, and it lasts. What happens is that we need the hormone, the testosterone hormone, to be in the doing. And men have like 100 times more of that in their body, which is why they can be, you know, in the doing, they can go and do, and they wouldn't feel as tired as you would, because what you are doing is you are using up your adrenaline. And what happens is when you have a high spike of adrenaline, then comes the downfall as well, which is like the hangover state. You just feel so depleted. And when women feel depleted, oh my God, she has access to emotions that really confuse the hell out of herself, the men around, the people around, and people are like, what is wrong with her? She was okay now, and suddenly she's sad, she's depressed, she's angry at me, she wants to throw things, she's crying. and we think, and then we begin to think no one understands us, and the whole problem lies there because we don't understand our bodies. And which is why the balance thing for me is more about women first understanding the nature of their bodies, and then energizing that, and then go about in the doing of it, in the doing things that you want to do. And because, you know, we live in a very masculine society, it requires us to be in our masculine to get a lot of things done. But we can no longer, we are in a situation right now, we can no longer do it at the cost of our feminine, at the cost of, you know, our health, our emotional health, just to achieve success, just to achieve more. Because you can get there and you will feel nothing. You will feel numb. You will have everything and you will feel numb, because the void is in you, because you have not connected with your primary essence. And we are this generation of women who, if we look back from history, we are the most privileged generation of women that history has ever seen. Yet we are more depressed, yet we are more stressed. We have all sorts of illnesses that did not even exist 20, 30 years ago. We are overworked, we are burnt out. We want to compete with men in their ways, according to their ways. There's no competition with men. It's a collaboration and it's a communion. When we be in our primary essence, what we do is we complement the men in their primary essence. And in doing so, we teach men a lot as well. It's our responsibility. In our being, we teach the men how to be. because they need the space. Men are also tired of the fact that man up and be in the doing and, you know, just be so strong because no one will take you serious. They too have emotions, but if women don't know how to deal with their emotions, men do not have the space to open that for themselves too. Because man will not go to another man to do this. Man will go to the nurturer to do this.
Very insightful share and very wise words, as Meera said. It's you are throwing out wisdom here on Bloom platform. So thank you for doing that, Jonita. So my last question to you is elevating female consciousness. How do we measure it? So when it comes to me, there are multitasking at home, at work, and other things. So sometimes I get drained. So as you said, I have to be aware of my own self. How do I measure that, and how do I elevate as a female the consciousness?
Yeah, I think it begins by listening to your body. When we wake up in the morning, we already know our energy levels. Like, okay, I feel this today and I have a whole lot of 20 things to do today. So what we do is we start drinking coffee and we start, you know, like getting ourselves up, let's do it, come on. So again, what we're doing, we are disrespecting our body's signals. And in doing so, we create a lot of distrust with our own intuitive system. So what I like to say is that we women have to understand, because we have the idea of, you know, being good at everything. We want to be perfect at everything. We want to be perfect mother, perfect wife, perfect daughter, perfect sister. And it's exhausting. It's an illusion. The idea of being enough is an illusion. If we see, we live in a world of duality, of polarity. There is the yin and the yang, the good and the bad, the plus and the minuses. So you, at any given moment, you are enough. And at any given moment, you are also not enough. Because how can an infinite being be enough? Yes. So feeling into this, that today with my energy, let me spend some time energizing it, and then I'm going to go and do as much as I can do, and as long as I feel good. Because what is our problem is that we keep doing without feeling good. So we're not even giving our total presence to what we are doing. And then we have resentment. And we start blaming people around us. No one is to blame. So for women like us, what I like to say is, busy women like us, we batch our work. We do as less multitasking as possible when it comes to working in business. We also take a lot of time, at least like 10-15 minutes every 4-5 hours, to really connect with, okay, now how my body is feeling, what am I supposed to do? And if you are led by your intuitive guidance and you follow that, oftentimes there will be days you will do less, but what you have created is a very meaningful day. There you will have meaningful conversations probably to someone loved. You would have found that moment to just sit with someone and just breathe and just be. You would have found things compound, because what you're doing is you're giving reverence to life itself. So we have to understand that we will never get all the things done. And the idea of chasing that, because we have to prove ourselves often, is very detrimental to our well-being. So we have to be taking measures on a very regular interval. So I like to have reminders on my phone. In every 3-4 hours, that's how I began. So I to check in, like stop, check in, give myself 5 minutes, just sit down and just check in. What is happening? Listen to your body, listen to your body, listen to your body, because that's how we can be relational to life, and we can really hold the feminine principles strongly.
So pause is the new trend. Pause, listen, and then start.
Yeah, if you schedule 5 minutes of nothingness, and I give this to my clients, and this is very uncomfortable for us women. 5 minutes of doing nothing is impossible. Like maybe check your phone, maybe just sort out that thing that is not looking good. But no, just 5 minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes. And if you say that you don't have these 5 minutes, then I want to really confront you that there is something wrong with your life. If you think you don't have 5 minutes for yourself during the day, that means you are not actually living a life. You don't have a life.
Beautifully expressed, Jonita. Now I'll hand over to our co-founder and co-host, Deepak, sir. All yours, sir.
Thank you, Payal, and thank you, Jonita. I mean, these last 30 minutes have been like, two truth bombs just dropping one after another, carpet bombing of truth, which is happening. So many things you said, and there are so many things which I can connect with. The very first thing I see, on my Zoom screen, I'm right there in the middle. You are there, that brown skinned girl. And on my left, I have Payal, that white skin, pink cheeks girl, right on this one side. So you said about Payal, women having so many things to do. And I can so much relate with Payal, she's our CEO, and we will keep on bombarding her. Payal, what you have done this, you have not done this, you have not coordinated with her, what's going on? And our 100th episode is coming up. And this Payal is coordinating with all people, sending out emailers and this, and he replied and she replied and whatnot is going on. I mean, whatever you was just saying, I was just putting it into practice in real life. This is actually happening with us. This is actually happening with Payal. So wonderful, really, really. I'm sure you are really, really young. You are what now? 33?
No.
They never, yeah, you never, you're not supposed to do that.
Don't go by my looks.
36, no problem, doesn't matter. I got my calculation.
I'm going to be 38 this year.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, they say young, you should never, ask or mention about the age of ladies. Having said that, there was so much coming out of what you were saying. There was so much experience. It showed that you've reached out to people. There has been pain in people which you've helped heal. There is so much to learn from you. I just want to take you back to what Payal said when she introduced you. She said that Jonita talks about Indian feminine mysticism. Tell us a little bit more about Indian feminine mysticism. And why I am asking you is this. I want you to relate with this. They say that in Hinduism, there are like 33,000 gods and half of them are goddesses. The female, the feminine power, we used to worship them as goddesses. Somewhere down the line, we lost it and, everything changed. And now that realization is coming back, that yin and yang, man and woman, male and female, all of them have to go together. A little bit on that, your views. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Yes, so the ancient mysticism, as you said, we are the living goddess culture here, the land of the goddesses. And when I was in the UK, many of my teachers, they were teaching me different archetypal energies of the goddesses. And I was wondering, like, really? So did I have to come this far to learn what I have been, what was there under my nose for the first 21 years of my life? Like, really? Doesn't make sense. Yes. Yeah. So what I noticed is that the Indian feminine mysticism is more about the archetypal learning of the goddesses and seeing those facets within ourselves. Yeah. And it begins by understanding that we are the goddesses. It's not a deity or a thing that you put out there. So it's not that power is outside of you, it's the divinity that is inside of us, and understanding different archetypal energies and through different practices, specifically through mantras and yantra, we get to connect to this archetypal energy within ourselves. And that's why, like, many Western women, for example, they do not have this such background of the goddesses and all the pujas and all that things we do here. However, they have deep connection. When you start speaking about Kali, they're like, yes, I feel that, I understand. When you talk about Lakshmi, they feel the abundance, and that's because in the feminine principle lies all the archetypal energies of the goddess. And also the god, the Shiva energy. In in the Chinese, it's the yin yang, but in the Vedic culture, it's the Shiva and the Shakti for the masculine and the feminine principles. So my work has been more about recognizing the Shakti principles and the Shiva principles within ourselves, and then how do we apply as business women in our daily life, as homemaker in our daily lives? How do we bring rituality to our modern day living? And that doesn't have to be like very long havans and pujas throughout the day, but like really connecting to this aspect of goddess that is within ourselves. And when we walk in reverence, then we begin to have this concept of transfiguration, which Tantra teaches, to see divinity in all beings, in all things exist. But we cannot do that if we don't see the divinity in ourselves first and being responsible for that divinity.
Very well said. Unless you don't realize that you are divine within, nothing else can change. It is said, that we are not human beings looking for a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings undergoing a human experience. So all of us have that divine energy in us. Wonderful. Very, very well said. Now, let me take you back to something which I'm sure has been asked to you. I'm sure you will have views. You spoke about women being men with skirts, and a lot of women nowadays, after getting educated, and you shared your example of working in the corporate space in Hyderabad and then in London. A lot of women are ready to get into that workplace, the corporate environment, get somewhere, become someone. By that time that happens, they realize that their biological clock, they've ignored it, right? There are women now wanting to give birth when they are 30 plus or 35 plus or even at 40 plus. Then nowadays, you see on social media, there are women who are flaunting that, in the last 8 years, I have given birth to 4 children. There is that side of the femininity which is now getting visible. What's your views on this? And why I'm asking is this, I have 2 children. My father had 3 and my grandmother had 9.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, I'm sure it must have been similar story in your family. Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about this. There are women who are now coming out and saying a little bit or almost something what you are saying. I am feminine. This is what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to give birth. I was supposed to nurture children and humanity. What's your views?
My view stands in the middle grounds. I would say that a lot of women are recognizing when we start to connect with our feminine energy. One of the archetypal energy that is innate to the feminine is the mother energy. So as women, we don't really have to even be our mother, but we always have this mothering energy, and we show it to our people around, our loved ones around. The care comes from there. And what I've also recognized is in my work with many women that now a lot of women also do not want to just be a mother, and it's not any derogation, because that's like the biggest gift of procreation that we get to have as women. But what I have noticed is in the society, a lot of importance was given to women's role for birthing, and we were told, like, this is your role. You get education, or you grow up, you marry someone, you have to give birth. This is the purpose of your life. And that's been changing, because a lot of mothers are recognizing that before anything else, I'm a woman. I am a woman, and I need to connect to that identity first, and then I can hold different roles for then. Because I've noticed a lot of women, as I mentioned before, that they lose themselves in the different roles. And when children go away, or you retire, or there's a loss of partner, then they're just lost. They don't know themselves, who they are without their job, who they are without the position they hold, without the motherhood. So more and more women are recognizing that, and they are choosing when it is ready to be a mother. And I think, what I truly see and what I've seen is that many children are birthing children. And what I'm saying is that we're just doing these things by default, rather than just learning that there is a consciousness that is required to be mother. Are you ready? Are you ready to support that ways? because you already have a very stressful life. You barely can hold yourself.
Yes.
How can you hold another baby? How can you be in the doing constantly? So it's a big responsibility to birth, and a lot of women are recognizing that and choosing that. And I can speak for myself because it's an individual's choice. I feel that I'm not a mother, but if you yet, and I am 38, and I'm constantly shamed in the Indian society for not giving birth at this age. Yeah. There are constant questions: is something medically wrong with you, or is something medically wrong with your husband, or maybe there's something wrong between you both? But we've been together for 11 years, and we've chosen that we will feel when the time is right, and we will do it. But nobody in my Indian family understands that, because they think my purpose has not been fulfilled until I give birth. But when you meet me or attend one of my retreats specifically, I have this mothering feeling that, okay, these are my children, even though there are women 20 years older to me, and like, these are the ones I have to really nourish and nurture and take care. And when we finish the week-long retreat, and when they go, I feel like, oh my God, now I'm sending my children back into the world. I hope they perform good. I hope they're well. I hope they keep well. So the energy that exists in us, we got to understand the sacredness of this energy, because that's when we can contribute to the mother archetype, I feel. Otherwise, there's no point to be a distressed mother. What are we going to teach to our children then?
Yeah, I mean, really, really very well said. It's finally, in the end, your decision. You decide that I'm ready to become a mother, and that's when you take the plunge. Having said that, one generation ago, very rarely we used to hear about single parenting. And even if there was an unfortunate incident where there was a single parenting, there was this joint family concept where everybody used to take care, and the child used to get raised. However, now single parenting is not an exemption, it is almost a norm. In that case, how difficult is it for a mother to fill in the father's job, the father's responsibility?
I think it's quite a challenge. I have quite a lot of single mothers as clients, and the whole problem here is that they just cannot do it all, because that's the truth. You cannot replace the role of the father, and it's again illusional. But you can be the mother. You cannot be the father and the mother both. And as long as you continue to be the mother, that will be just enough, because some things the soul chooses for themselves. The children have chosen before they landed here. We have soul contract. Of course, there are responsibilities of providing. Can I provide like how the father could have? And we go into that. But our major concern and major importance should be given into how can you be the mother in the fullest? And that's it, we can't be all. How much ever we want to. Of course, financial issues happen. And for single mothers, the most difficult part is, how do I find time for myself? Because I have to do everything for my child. That's another thing. And it's much easier in India because you have family support, but in the West, most of the single women are by themselves. So it's quite a challenge, and really cannot define anything, because I think mothers just do their best at all times.
Yes, mothers are the best, obviously. Clearly, God made them that way, and that's the way they are. Early on, when you were introducing yourself, you spoke about being born in a privileged family and being financially free. You never needed to bother about money in that sense. How difficult would it have been if you wouldn't have had that financial freedom?
Yeah, what I meant is, with that, like, my family was well-to-do enough and very educated, so I had all the support. But at the age of 21, I decided that I'm not going to take any money from my family, because what I knew and what I was seeing around is that women were very dependent on money to their husbands. Like, every expense, anything that they want to buy, they have to check in with them. And I was like, no, I'm gonna just do it my way, and I will figure it out. Ever since, I got married in London. Like, I financed my wedding, and I did everything. I never asked for any money, because that, for me, that was it. Like, I wanted to be independent of money. So there were a lot of hardships, and people think going abroad is a great life. It's tough out in abroad. I worked 3-4 jobs while I was studying, and to pay my university, to do the part-time jobs, to meet my ends. So it was quite challenging. I did work in the streets. I did clean hotels and stuff. I did a lot, and I was an engineer in India. So I could have just stayed in that environment of zone of comfort, but I decided that I shouldn't be dependent on money or on parents or on anyone else for my life, because if I do that, then they will have control over my life. So that was my agenda. And so it was really difficult. And, there were times that I just ate one potato and slept. And my mom would ask from India, so how are you? And this is happening here, and we're doing this. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. We're good. So I think it's on your principles, what values you really hold, and what is more important to you as values.
Wonderful. I mean, really, really, sharing your life journey, sharing your experiences, that clearly has resulted in becoming who you are today. I just want to ask you one more question. You said about the wild nights and the parties and getting hangovers. If you wouldn't have seen that part of life, would it have been different today? Would the Jonita today would have been different?
At that time, I thought that when I was in the dark space, the dark night of the soul moment, I did not like all of those moments. But today, when I look back at all those hard, dark moments of my life, and I've had quite a few dark nights of the souls periodically for the next stage of my evolution, I feel like this is what it was meant to be, including the death of my father. It has been the biggest gift, and now I can say, and this is how I also teach the grieving rituals in my retreats, that death of a loved one can be taken as a beautiful gift in your life. And this is so hard to digest even, because it's such a sensitive topic, because this healing takes really long. And at the time I was reading Dalai Lama's The Art of Happiness, and he said that the death of a loved one can lead you to your purpose. And I was so angry, I was so pissed off, I threw that book away. I didn't want to. Now I look back and I understand that all of those moments that has happened, and in fact in the universe nothing goes for waste. I like to say everything compounds, even if we don't understand the hardships right now. When we are aligned and we go through it with our integrity, we can look back and understand, like, I wouldn't want to change. Of course there are things I want to change, but probably I would have been a different person, not this one talking. So I take it as a gift. Yes. Painful gift, but a gift.
Yeah, wonderful. Really, really. You've used the word compound twice in our session today. I would just like to show you this.
Okay.
This is my book. This is written by me. It is Compounding the Eighth Wonder. It talks a lot about money, because it talks about compounding and financial freedom. I'm a financial advisor, by the way. So that is my job. And this is my book. So just, whenever I hear that word compound, something comes up and say, oh, yay, I've already talked about this in my book. Yeah. So, and while Bloom is going to be launching a book of its own, our second edition, on our upcoming 100th episode. I think you should reach out to Jonita and give her that one chapter which we are planning for. So I take this occasion to officially invite you, Jonita, to contribute to at least one chapter in our forthcoming book, which is going to get released on our 100th episode very, very soon. We started this journey of Bloom Talks in September 2020 without fail. Every Sunday, we've had either an online or a physical event where a guest like you, somebody national, somebody international, a sportsman, a lawyer, a NLP practitioner, a life coach, a speaker. During Valentine's Day, we had couples and whatnot. We've organized taboo talks and things which other people don't want to talk about. It's been an incredible journey being a part of Bloom. And I can also tell you, Payal, you have Jonita as one of the keynote speakers in one of our upcoming events. So coordinate with her. I mean, such power, such experience, such clarity of thought. If you are talking about femininity, I think Jonita is the person to connect and be with.
Thank you so much.
I would take this opportunity if anybody would like to ask a question to Jonita or just any comment, Meera or even Brenda, Abhijit, anyone. Meera, by the way, was a guest on our show a few months ago. So thank you for that, Meera.
I love Meera.
Yes. Hi, Meera, unmute yourself if you want to say anything to Jonita.
Thank you so much. Good morning from London to all of you, amazing people. And beautiful good morning to Jonita, our special guest, and to beautiful Payal, and to you, Dr. Deepak. So it's my absolute pleasure to see Jonita speaking, because I love her so much. I met her in person in London and I attended her retreat. She is truly an amazing, a soulful leader. So thank you so much for your beautiful sharing, Jonita. I am really happy for you, and I would love to ask you to give us, us women, advice what we can do to maintain the flow of our feminine essence. How we can maintain this on a daily basis.
Yeah, thank you so much, Meera. Always loved. I think we have attended like 3 or 4 circles together and the retreat in Spain. You answered your question, how can we maintain the flow of the feminine on a regular basis? It's by being in the flow. And for us women, it is by moving our bodies. So I highly recommend, to learn how to be moving our bodies. There are certain exercises that we can do. And when we do that, we move stagnant energies. And this is not like a dance with a step or something. You can put even meditation music in the background and close your eyes and see how your body wants to move and what's flowing through. So the flow comes from being in the flow physically as well. And you will see that a lot of creative ideas, like when I devote myself this time, this 5 minutes of this movement without any agenda, I keep a diary next to me because I get the best writing ideas, I get the best content ideas, and that's how you maintain the flow. You energize.
Thank you so much, beautiful sister. Thank you.
I mean, I would completely agree with what Jonita said. These ideas and, these light bulbs and flash bulbs, they happen when you are in that flow, when you've surrendered everything, when you've given up everything. You are not really thinking about something. You are just in the flow, and somewhere something clicks and there's that flash. Yes, that's an idea. I so agree with what Jonita has said. Payal.
Okay, so before we wrap up, Jonita, what is the manifestation bowl?
Oh, manifestation bowl is something I created for myself. The idea came just, I was looking at gratitude jars. That was quite a popular concept. And I wanted to surround myself with my desires, my dreams. But I didn't at the time, as I was telling you, like life in London in the beginning was difficult. And I didn't have the space to, create an area where I could just, have my vision board and my power zone and all of that. I had brought from home a beautiful coconut shell. It was like a bowl. And if you see my YouTube video on manifestation bowl, I have used that. And what I did is that I wrote down few of my desires, and I put few interesting things and I kept it in my environment. And every morning I would wake up and I will have my rose tea and I'll lift that bowl and I'll be like checking in, like what are the things I've written. And I realized that what I was doing unconsciously was I was energizing them on a regular basis. What happens is when we're too busy, we lose our focus. So then it became a practice. I do this every lunar cycle. So pretty much every new moon, I refresh my manifestation bowl. And now that I'm traveling, so I have this small box that I use. And inside of that, I keep an essential oil, and I keep some money note. I write down some of my desires for the month, some things that I would like to experience. I'll always also keep a fresh flower. And I just sit with it for 5 minutes and just remind myself, energize myself of my desires and of my dreams before I begin my crazy day and I get lost in the busyness of life itself. And when I watched The Secret, they talked about manifestation and law of attraction. What I noticed is that I wasn't getting anywhere. And when I started learning more about it through the the Jerry and Esther Hicks Ask and It's Given book, it said that hold a desired thought for 17 seconds and the law of attraction kicks in. But when you hold a thought for 68 seconds, then manifestation has begun. So I feel like me just, connecting with it on a regular basis was a beautiful way of, beautiful synchronicities were happening in my day and opportunities were coming. And what I was doing is, I wasn't like keeping myself like in the high vibe and like, yes, I have to feel positive to manifest. And when I'm not positive, then I feel guilty that, oh my God, maybe I will not manifest. So I just detach myself of all of that. I spend 5 minutes with my manifestation ball of the month with the things. I also keep a jewelry, and that jewelry becomes my jewelry for the month. I wear it. And like, these are like little reminders, like intentional triggers. And I go about my day. I may have a bad day. I may have like really crap time. I may forget about it, but I have done my bit here in the morning, and I leave the rest to the universe, and things begin to unfold.
Wow, wonderful tips. Thank you, Jonita. I can heartfelt gratitude for coming on Bloom, and you have really shared lots of life's lessons with us. We are looking forward to have collaboration with you very soon, maybe a retreat or with Bloom. And yes, and hoping to see you on our 17th July, our 100th episode here in Mumbai. So I'll get connected with you this coming week. And thank you for coming and gracing Bloom platform. To our audiences, if you all want to connect with Jonita, she's available on Facebook. You can connect her directly, or you can DM me. I will share her contact details with you all. Thank you, Meera, for introducing such a beautiful soul and being there. It's morning time in UK. You're also a beautiful soul. Thank you, lovely audiences. It's lunchtime now. Sir, you can do the official closing.
So it is now 1:30 afternoon in India. We have an audience on Facebook, and there are some people in the room. Our families are waiting for us. Our lunch is waiting for us. It's time to say goodbye on another Sunday Bloom talk show, the non-stop talk show, which has touched almost 90 episodes, Payal? 90 episodes.
Yes, almost 90.
10 more episodes, and we will be celebrating our 100th episode in a grand style. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to come and attend that program. Thank you for joining us, Jonita, for taking time out, and hoping to connect with you soon again. Have a great day, everyone. God bless. Yes.